It was a practical session in the psychology class. The professor showed a large cage with a male rat in it. The rat was in the middle of the cage. Then the professor put a piece of cake on one side and a female rat on the other side. The male rat ran towards the cake and ate it. Then the professor changed the cake and replaced it with some bread. The male rat again ran towards the bread. This experiment went on, with the professor changing the food every time, and every time the male rat ran towards the food item and never towards the female rat. The professor asked the students, "This experiment shows that food is the greatest strength and attraction. Do you agree?" Then one of the students from the back row said, "Sir, why don't you change the female rat? This one might be his wife." The professor stood straight up, his finger pointing towards the student, and said, "You just got an A." A young virgin couple is finally wed. Each one is nervous about the impending night, but neither is willing to admit it or ask the other about it. Wondering what to do first, the young man calls his father. "Pop, what do I do first?" "Get undressed and climb into bed," his father replies. So the young man does as he is advised. The girl is mortified and calls her mama. "Get undressed and join him," is the advice from mama, so she complies. After laying there for a few moments, the young man excuses himself and calls his dad again. "Now what do I do?" he asks. "Look at her body, then take the hardest part of your body and put it where she pees," the dad tells him. A few moments later, the girl again calls her mama. "What do I do now?" she asks. "Well, what is he doing?" Mama asks. She replies, "He's in the bathroom, dunking his head in the toilet." One day, a lady was driving on the highway. She frequently checked her speed gauge to make sure she stayed within the speed limit. However, when she looked into her rearview mirror, much to her dismay, she saw a police car not far behind. To make matters worse, the police car turned on his flashing lights. She thought to herself, "Oh, what have I done now? I'm not speeding, I'm not drinking, I have my seatbelt on, I have kept up my license dues, everything." So, she pulled over and the police car pulled over to the side right behind her. She drove her car slowly to a stop, slowly rolled down the window and prepared for a ticket, even though she knew she didn't deserve it. A policeman walked up to her window and spoke to her. The lady pointed to her ear and shook her head, meaning she was deaf. The policeman smiled slightly and, knowing sign language, signed back, "I know, I'm here to tell you that your horn is stuck." A boy comes back from school disappointed because he got a 0 on a geography exam. "The teacher gave me a 0 because I couldn't answer a question on Portugal," he said. His mother asked, "What was the question?" The boy says, "Where's Portugal?" "The idiot teacher," his mother responds, "I'm going to call the principal's office. In the meantime, we're going to find where Portugal is." She gets a map of the state and can't find Portugal. Then she gets a map of the region and still can't find Portugal. She gets a map of the city and can't find Portugal. "I swear, Portugal can't be far," she said. "The maid is from Portugal, and she comes here to work every day on her bicycle." A little girl says to her mother, "Mommy, when you were at work, a strange lady came around and—" "Not now," says Mummy. "Wait until Daddy gets home." So they wait until Daddy gets home, and then Mummy says, "Now, dear, what were you saying about Daddy and the strange lady?" Daddy starts to say something, but Mommy says, "You keep quiet. I'll be talking to my attorney in the morning. Carry on, dear." "Well," says the little girl, "Daddy told me to stay downstairs while they went upstairs, but I followed them without Daddy seeing me, and I saw them hugging and kissing at the top of the stairs. Then they went into your bedroom and shut the door, but I went up and looked through the keyhole." "Clever girl," purrs Mummy. "What could you see through the keyhole?" "I saw them hugging and kissing some more, and then they started to take each other's clothes off. They carried on until they had nothing on, and then the lady got on the bed and Daddy got on top of her." "Yes," says Mummy. "And then what happened?" The little girl said confidently, "Then they did what you and Uncle Jack did when Daddy was in Vancouver last year." A man goes into his favorite bar and sees a jar of money on the counter with the word "wind" printed on it. "What's this about?" he asks the bartender. That's our monthly contest, the bartender says. You put in a $20 entry fee and then perform the 3 acts. If you complete all 3 successfully, you win the pot. Cool, he says. What are the 3 acts? Well, first, you have to sucker punch the bouncer, says the bartender, pointing to a man by the door who was the size of a house. Then, if you're still okay, we have a pit bull downstairs with an abscessed tooth. You have to pull it out with your bare hands. So far, I'm not liking this, says the man, but I'll bite. What's the 3rd act? See Mrs. Jennings down there? Asks the bartender, pointing to an old lady at the end of the bar with warts on her face. She hasn't had sex in a long time. You know what? I'm good, says the guy. Just bring me my usual. As the night goes on, one drink becomes many, and the guy decides he's feeling pretty brave. Ah, what the heck, he thinks, and plops $20 in the jar. He heads to the bouncer and punches him in the jaw as hard as he can. The bouncer crumples to the floor. All right, he yells. Where's that pit bull? He runs downstairs, and throughout the bar, a howling is heard, as if the gates of hell have opened up. Then silence. A few moments later, he comes running back up the stairs, a wild look in his eyes. All right, he says, where's the lady with the abscessed tooth? There was a Japanese man who came to London for sightseeing. On the last day, he hailed a cab and told the driver to drive to the airport. During the journey, a Honda drove past the taxi. Thereupon, the man leaned out of the window excitedly and yelled, "Honda, very fast, made in Japan." After a while, a Toyota sped past the taxi. Again, the Japanese man leaned out of the window and yelled, "Toyota, very fast, made in Japan." Then a Mitsubishi sped past the taxi for the 3rd time. The Japanese man leaned out of the window and yelled, "Mitsubishi, very fast, made in Japan." The driver was a little angry, but he kept quiet. This went on for quite a number of cars. Finally, the taxi came to the airport. The fare was £300. The Japanese man exclaimed, "Wow, so expensive!" Thereupon, the driver yelled back, "Meter, very fast, made in Japan." A farmer separated the bulls and cows to prepare them for the mating season. A few days later, he built a wall with barbed wire on top. A young bull could not resist his temptations and wanted to mate with a cow. Other bulls told him there was a veteran consultant bull among them who could help. The bull went to him and asked how to cross the wall to reach the cows. The consultant explained, "First of all, stand 60 feet away from the wall, then run at 60 miles per hour, then jump at a 60-degree angle. Do what you want, then come back the same way." The young bull asked, "But what if I mess up with the calculations and lose my balls in the barbed wire?" The consultant bull said, "Then you become a consultant." A mother was driving home from the shops when she decided to stop by her son and daughter-in-law's house. She knocked on the door. There was no answer. She tried the door, which was unlocked, so she decided to walk in. She was shocked to see her daughter-in-law lying on the couch, totally naked. Soft music was playing, and the aroma of scented candles filled the room. "What on earth are you doing?" she asked her daughter-in-law. "I'm waiting for Robbie to come home from work," the daughter-in-law answered. "But you are lying there naked," the mother-in-law exclaimed. "This is my love dress," her daughter-in-law explained. "Love dress? But you're naked." "Robbie loves me to wear this dress," she explained. "Every time he sees me like this, he instantly becomes aroused and ravages me for hours." The mother-in-law blushed and left. She had obviously been doing some thinking on the drive home, because when she got home, she undressed, showered, put on her best perfume, dimmed the lights, put on a romantic CD, and lay on the couch waiting for her husband to arrive. Finally, her husband came home from work. He walked in and did a double take, seeing her lying there so provocatively. "What on earth are you doing, Hilda?" he asked. "This is my love dress," she whispered sensually. "Your love dress needs ironing," her husband said. "What's for dinner?" A young boy says to his father, "Dad, our math teacher is asking to see you." "What happened?" the father asks. "Well, she asked me, 'How much is 7 times 9? I answered, 63. Then she asked, "And 9 times 7? So I asked, "What's the bloody difference?" "Indeed, what is the difference?" asked the father. "Sure, I'll go." The next day, the boy comes home from school and says, "Dad, have you gone by the school?" "Not yet." "Well, when you do, come and see the gym teacher also." "Why?" asks the father. "Well, we had a gym class today, and he asked me to raise my left arm. I did. Then my right arm, I also raised it. Then he asked me to lift my right leg, so I did. Now he says, lift your left leg. So I asked, what am I supposed to stand on? My pee?" "Exactly," says the father. "All right, I'll come." The next day, the boy asks his father, "Did you go to the school?" "No, not yet." "Don't bother, I got expelled." Surprised, the father asks, "Why did you get expelled?" "Well, they summoned me to the principal's office, and sitting there were the math teacher, the gym teacher, and the art teacher." "What the bloody hell was the art teacher doing there?" asks the father. The boy replies, "That's what I bloody said."